One of the biggest advantages of the QHOS system is the ability for drivers to approve and edit their own logs, essentially putting more control back into their hands. Let's take a look at how to do this. As a professional driver, it is your responsibility to manage your logbook, so you must review your past duty status records and either approve each record or make the necessary edits. The Approve tab shows all the duty status changes that have not yet been approved. The most current duty status does not appear in this list. Use the scroll-down arrows on the side of the screen to review each log record that has not been approved. If all of your log records are accurate, tap the Approve All button at the bottom of the screen. Once the pop-up box appears, tap OK to finish approving all your log records. Before approving your log records, tap the Daylog tab to check the accuracy of each log record. You should also approve your logs daily. Once you approve a log record, you won't be able to make an edit to that record from the MCP 200. When this happens, you have to contact the log department to make any necessary edits. When reviewing your logs for accuracy, you may find a duty status that's incorrect. If that duty status has not been approved, you can edit it. Note, only non-driving records can be edited. One scenario where you may need to edit your logs is when you need to change one duty status to another. In this example, the driver shows to have been on duty for 2 hours. However, he or she was actually off duty during those 2 hours. To edit the duty status, tap the record you want to edit. Then, tap the Edit button at the bottom of the screen. The Original field tells you the original duty status, the start time and date of that status, and the duration of the duty status. To change the duty status from on to off, select the drop-down menu and tap Off. Choose a note describing the new duty status from the Remarks drop-down menu. Then tap OK at the bottom of the screen. A secondary screen then appears, the Edit Reason screen. Enter a note describing the reason for the change. Then tap OK at the bottom of the screen to complete the edit process. Another scenario where you may need to edit your logs is when you need to split one duty status into two. In this example, the driver is showing off duty for 2 hours. However, he or she was actually off duty for the first hour, but was on duty for the second hour. Again, select the record you want to edit and tap the Edit button. To split the log, tap the Scissors button in the upper right corner. In this example, the original duty status was off from 1200 to 1400 hours. Because the driver was only off duty for the first hour, select Off from the first drop-down menu. Now enter the end time of the first duty status into the Until field, in this case 1300 hours. Because the driver was on duty during the second hour, select On in the second drop-down menu. You won't be able to select a time in the Until field because the record ended at 1400 hours and you're only able to split the log record into 2 separate duty statuses. Select a note or a remark from the drop-down menu describing the new duty status and tap OK at the bottom of the screen. Once the Edit Reason screen appears, enter a note describing the reason for the change and tap the OK button to complete the edit. The next scenario where you may need to edit your logs is when you need to insert a duty status in the middle of an original duty status. In this example, the driver is off duty for a duration of 4 hours between 1200 and 1600 hours. However, the driver went on duty from 1300 to 1330 hours, then went back off duty from 1330 to 1600 hours. Again, select the duty status you want to change and tap Edit. Then tap the Scissors button. Since the driver was off duty from 1200 to 1300 hours, select Off from the first drop-down menu. Then enter 1300 into the Until field. The driver went on duty at 1300 hours, so select On from the second drop-down menu. Same as before, you cannot enter an end time into the Until field. The field automatically says 1600 hours. But the driver was only on duty from 1300 to 1330 hours. Because you're only allowed to enter 2 duty statuses, you have to complete this record as is, and then create another log edit. To finish the current edit, select a note from the drop-down menu, and then click OK. When the Edit Reason screen appears, enter a note describing the reason for the change, and then tap OK. You now need to make a second edit to the log, so find and select the on-duty record you created from 1300 to 1600 hours. Tap the Edit button, and then the Scissors button. Going back to the example, the driver was on duty from 1300 to 1330 hours, then went off duty from 1330 to 1600 hours. Select On from the first drop-down menu. Then enter 1330 in the Until field. Now select Off in the second drop-down menu. The end time of 1600 hours automatically appears. Select a note from the drop-down menu and click OK. When the Edit Reason screen appears, enter a note and then tap OK to complete the edit. The final scenario where you may need to edit your logs is if you're a team driver and forgot to change to the active driver. If driver 1 accidentally logged a non-driving record under driver 2's logs, both drivers would have to make a log edit. In this example, driver 1 fueled from 1200 to 1215, but accidentally logged it under driver 2's logs. Driver 2 would select the log record from 1200 to 1215 and complete an edit from on duty to off duty. Driver 1 would then make an edit to their logs from off duty to on duty from 1200 to 1215 for fueling. There will be times when you won't be able to make a log edit from the MCP 200. In these cases, send a macro 50 to have the log department make the edit for you. One example is once you've approved your log records. You'll also have to send a macro 50 for any driving record that you want to edit. For example, if you're a team and you forget to change the active driver and log a driving record under the incorrect driver, send a macro 50 to have the log department put the drive time under the correct driver's log. Another example of when you'll need to send a macro 50 is if you forget to log off the MCP 200 when you take your truck to the shop and the shop performs a test drive of the vehicle. The final function of the QHOS system is the Load tab. The Load tab attaches the trip number or numbers to your daily log records. Under this tab, you can create a new load, view your load history, or edit load information. Let's discuss how to create a new load. To do this, tap on the Load tab and select the New Load button at the bottom of the screen. From this screen, you can enter information about the new load you just received. The Load ID field is where you enter the trip number of your new load. Enter the date you received the load information in the Start field. Enter the date you will finish the load in the End field. Enter the Bill of Lading number in the BL number field. Then enter the trailer number of the load in the Trailer 1 field. You can list up to 3 trailer numbers in the load screen. Scroll down to enter more trailer numbers by using the down arrow on the side. Once you're finished entering all of the information, tap the OK button to complete the new load. You can also view a history of your previous loads from the Load tab. Tap the History button to look through previous loads. Review your history by scrolling up or down using the arrows on the side. View the details of a specific load by selecting the load and tapping the Details button at the bottom of the screen. If you entered information on a load that ends up canceling or that you don't end up taking, you can delete the trip by selecting the load and tapping the Delete button at the bottom of the screen. A secondary screen appears. Confirm you want to delete the trip by clicking OK. You can also edit your current load from the Load tab. The current load you're under appears once you select the Load tab. Tap the Edit button. The Edit Load screen appears. You can make changes to any field by simply selecting the field you want to update. Once you've finished the changes, tap the OK button to complete the editing process. Finally, you can edit previous loads by selecting the History button from the Load tab. Select the load that you want to edit. Tap the Edit button and proceed as described just a minute ago to edit the load. This completes your training on the QHOS logging system. If you have any questions over any of the functions we covered today, please contact your fleet manager or the log department.